Hello, my name is Jennifer Shlomovich, and I am a vegan confidence coach that specializes in helping vegans who live with non-vegans navigate challenges and build confidence in being who they are. Today, my special guest is Zyoni Hamashiach, a self-love transformation guide and the visionary founder of AHIMSA Healing Heart Guidance. Zyoni helps conscious women create successful love systems that elevate their energy for rapidly increasing their wealth, health, and divine feminine power. She also empowers others to cultivate positive beliefs about abundance and plant-based livity. She can help you to intentionally practice elevating your financial frequency and wealth mindset using a sustainable self-love system tailored to include a variety of mindfulness practices you'll need. Zyoni, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's so nice to have you here. I'm so glad we connected a few weeks ago and we had a great conversation. And I know you'll have a lot of amazing things to share with my audience today. So, welcome.
Yes, I'm so glad that the vegan networking is working and brought us
Yeah,
together.
yeah, absolutely.
Very important.
Definitely. And I love, and that's what I want to have is providing this space for people to hear different experiences with veganism as well as just different life experiences, right? Because we all have different experiences in life, and by sharing them it can help somebody else in ways that we may not realize.
Hey, absolutely. I'm glad to be here and I'm ready to share.
Awesome. So let's start with what is your vegan story?
So, it kind of goes back to, back many years ago. So I've been identifying and using the term vegan for about 7 to 8 years now. However, when I really transitioned to full plant-based, full vegan, um, I started to realize a lot of things about myself that I had somehow not really forgotten, but it's got covered. It was packed with the beliefs of my family, the beliefs of my social circle. And I had to do a lot of work to uncover that. And I will say that I started off on my journey with just a desire to be more healthy and to eat more plant-based because I knew that it was healthier for me. I grew up on a farm in Texas, and my grandfather always had organic, fresh fruits and vegetables from the farm. And that's what I always wanted to eat. I always wanted to eat straight off the tree or straight out of the garden. I noticed things taste better. So I will say that my journey really just took a full circle when I noticed myself being disconnected from that farm life that I grew up with to now buying groceries in a grocery store and not being able to find like quality fruits that really sparked my taste buds and that I felt like were really potent enough to be sustainable for me. And so I intentionally wanted to transition to being vegetarian. That was my original goal. And I noticed that when I tried to do that, I felt better. However, it's on that journey of being vegetarian, there was a call for me to go deeper. There was a call for me to connect back to those farm fresh fruits and vegetables. And so I started to meditate on that while I was transitioning because I here I am, this young Texan who grew up eating bacon for breakfast, pork chops for dinner. And I said, it's going to take a miracle. I'm going to know that it's a calling from a higher source. It won't be because of anything else. No one will be able to convince me and take that desire from me because I've had it ever since, I started eating meat, when I was little and around my family and friends, and there was no vegetarian, pescatarian, none of that around, let alone vegan or plant-based. So I really just needed to get in a position where I was away from the meat long enough to really hear my own voice. And so through my transition and being vegetarian, I started to hear it. And then I went on this fast. Some may know by Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi was from Honduras and had a practice in California where he was helping people become more holistic and promoting an alkaline meal plan. And once I got a hold of his alkaline meal plan, that is really what changed it. It was naturally vegan. The alkaline meal plan was naturally vegan, naturally plant based. And that is when I started to notice my frequency, my energy changed when I went 100% alkaline. And I did it for as long as I could. And I really started to feel the power of the fruits and vegetables update my update my energy on a cellular level. And that is what really helped me hear that I don't have to be afraid of this term, this word vegan. It's it goes deeper. It's vegan and then beyond, it would say to me. You're vegan and beyond. No matter what you eat, it's about your heart. And when I first started out, I was using the term vegan heart, because it was like what I'm eating is not matching 100%, and the way I live is not 100% vegan as I would like it to be, but my heart is vegan. And I noticed that my heart was there years ago when I was a child. And I used to ask my grandparents while I was on that farm, what happened to my friends, my little baby chickens? What happened? How did, how did these become breakfast and these grow up to be, you know, producers of more chickens? And what happens to my baby goats that are my friends? What happens to the cows? And I started to ask all of these questions at a very young age, and I noticed it made them very awkward. It made them feel very awkward because they had to explain to me um you know what what that process was. And once I heard the process, you know they never could give me a good answer, and I had to uncover all of that muck and know that I had a vegan heart in there. And even though I wasn't eating vegan, that was a big part of my discomfort and my lack of true wellness in my atmosphere. I never had really any major health problems, but I was severely overweight, and I had struggled losing weight. And I went into it not focusing on the weight, but focusing on my vegan heart. And within less than a year, I was able to transform and lose over 100 pounds.
Wow.
Just it just aligned me better, following my heart and knowing that I had a truly vegan heart, and then later discovering that I had an AHIMSA heart. I just didn't want any violence to any life forms, not just animals, just I wanted to practice more self-love for myself, and I wanted those around me to practice ahimsa, which is nonviolence and just more compassion for all life forms. And that was the a core value of my heart. So yes, that's the long journey of finally getting to where now my plate matches my heart. And I'm working more with the power of meditation and the power of prayer to align my environment with AHIMSA. A deeper, to me, it takes it deeper with the vegan journey.
Your answer is very beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yes, thank
I
you.
I can relate in a different way and also being a gradual journey. I grew up being conditioned, to eat, beef and chicken and not, and fish and not think anything of it. It's like you knew where it came from, but just looking at it on the plate, it just was, I was just doing what my family did. And there was a point where, for me, it started with health, and I noticed how food was impacting my body. First, it started with like sodium and just things like that. But then I started noticing like dairy and how dairy made me feel, how it impacted my skin, how it impacted my sinuses, and just my overall all feeling of well-being. And when I decided to take a break from dairy, and during that time, I was Googling and looking up on Pinterest dairy-free recipes, and a lot of vegan recipes came up. And I noticed when I took dairy out of my diet, I would take a break for like 30 days and then I would go back to it. And then I was just like, ugh, like you don't realize something how, like kind of like what you were saying, like when you remove yourself from something, it gives you that space and that clarity. And I realized, so I really minimized a lot of dairy out of my body. And also, having parents who had heart disease and diabetes, I wanted to start taking better care of my health through what I ate. And I was looking at eliminating meat. And I just started, it started with the dairy, but then it went into the meat and the other things, and realizing how it made me feel.
Yes,
And it was a process of going back and forth and back and forth. But there was this part of me, I love what you said about vegan heart, because there was this part of me in my heart that really wanted to be vegan. But my head was like, you can't do that. Your family's not vegan. What are they going to say? What are people going to say? How are people going to judge you? And when you finally take actions that are in alignment with your heart, I feel like that's where the ultimate fulfillment is in life. Because when our heart wants something, but we're doing something because other people's expectations get in our way, or we allow other people's expectations to get in our way, sure, it's uncomfortable when we might challenge the status quo or set boundaries where we feel we need to say it, but that short term discomfort leads to that long term happiness. And so, and I just also, yeah, I think when we become more aware of the things we're eating and putting in our body, and just how we treat the environment and how we treat animals, those that compassion can then have a ripple effect in other areas on the planet and in our life. And having that vegan heart, I really like what you said, how it doesn't just have to be about what you put on your plate. It can
yes,
show up in
yes,
other ways in your life.
exactly. Because, like, being in a household where I was the only person vegan, not even just the household, but the community, the whole
Mm-hmm.
community, I was the only vegan plant-based person. And so I had to practice the ultimate self-love. And like you said, just kind of tune out what everybody else was saying and what they were doing to really hear my own authentic voice and know that it was from a place of love. It was from a place that wanted me to be whole and that wanted me to practice healing habits and setting boundaries is one of those. Setting boundaries on what I eat and why I eat it and how I eat it was something that I needed. Is part of my sustainable system of self-love. It was one of the key components. And so with practicing setting boundaries, I had some resistance that I had to get through from the community. But in the end, it was so worth it because now they see me implementing these things that were unheard of um, growing up in our community. They haven't seen anyone transition to being completely plant-based for years on end and still being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And not only being healthy, but also having the passion to get out there and tell others, look, I know that you may not be called to be fully vegetarian or fully vegan, but I know you hear the calling to at least get more conscious about what you eat, to get in more plant-based meals. And I had this slogan that every plant-based meal counts as an act of self-love. And
Mm.
like you said, so that creates the ripple effect, and it also elevates your own frequency because it's an act of kindness for yourself, but it's an act of kindness for all creation, really, because it does promote less um, violence and less harm
Mm-hmm.
to to the all, and especially the greater good. And those were my core beliefs. It helped me really define my own personal core beliefs on this journey. And I realized that even if I help just one or two people get in one or two more plant-based meals than they would have, that I'm doing something that helps me indirectly. By helping them, I'm helping myself. And by helping me, helping them, I help the all. And I didn't know of anything else that I had that gave me more power. you
Yeah,
know, yeah,
absolutely. And I feel too when you're making more conscious decisions about the food you eat, the people you spend time with, the TV you watch, the movies you watch, the music, all these different things can impact our well-being. And I I really resonate with what you shared about a higher calling because when it first started off for the health stuff, that's when I started to tap into this voice, this higher calling that was
yeah,
pulling me and guiding me to step more into this way of life. And then I started to become more mindful about the clothing I bought and other products. And even if you just have one vegan meal or just have more vegetables, because even if someone doesn't want to be fully vegan or vegetarian, but they just increase their fruits and vegetables in their diet, that in itself is going to have a powerful impact on your health and well-being. And I think especially now there's so many creative recipes out there. That's the creativity. Like I'm a better cook now since I've been vegan than before I was vegan because there's all these cuisines with all these different spice blends and cultural backgrounds that I would not have discovered otherwise, that are in cookbooks and Pinterest and all these places. And I've learned to cook with spices that I wouldn't have normally thought of to use. And I love the creativity with the desserts where they have healthier base ingredients where, yes, not that necessarily all vegan desserts are healthy, but you can make healthier desserts. Like
definitely.
sweet potatoes and chocolate make an amazing pie filling that,
Oh my.
yeah. So I made this amazing chocolate pie one time a few years back, and it's sweet potatoes, like roasted sweet potatoes, mixed in with like all these other amazing things. I should probably, I'm going to put the link to that recipe uh,
Yes.
from Ella Vegan. Her stuff is great. I'm going to put that in here because it was an amazing chocolate pie. And the crust, I think it was like oats and nuts. And anyway, I'm going off
We
track.
need that in the upcoming months, the upcoming weeks. We need that in
Yes,
celebration.
absolutely. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I think too, a lot of times people struggle with food. I can speak for myself. Like I've struggled with my weight on and off over the years, and I don't like feeling deprived. So if I can
Yes.
have a delicious dessert that tastes just as good as a non-vegan dessert, if not better, then I'm not feeling deprived. And if it's made with ingredients that are better for me, then like vegan cheesecakes, a lot of them have like a tofu base or a cashew base, which is much better than eggs and heavy cream and cream cheese and all of those things. So you can if you can have the same delicious flavors with better ingredients, then you don't feel deprived, and your body feels better, which then impacts your energy and how you show up in your day-to-day life. And so,
Oh, you said it all. You said it all. That is how I came up with the name AHIMSA Healing Heart Guidance. So emphasis on the art in heart, because it it really transformed my life with it elevated my creativity frequency, incorporating, like you said, these different recipes, ways to use spices and herbs. And these are healing herbs.
mhm,
So imagine a meal plan where you can not only be creative and not and practice less harm, but also it just becomes so delicious.
mhm.
It's just you get these herbs and these spices together and create something that is medicinal, unintentionally
Yeah.
medicinal, and is absolutely delicious, divine. People don't know that the real organic, straight from the farm cacao or cocoa chocolate, the little chocolate seed, the chocolate fruit, comes off of a tree and is a seed of a fruit and is pounded down to this paste. And it is super potent antioxidant. Oh my, they use cacao, cocoa, chocolate in spiritual ceremonies for
Mhm.
healing. That was its original use. And all of the women, I just want to tell them, because they're always like, I don't know why I have this addiction to chocolate. I love chocolate. I love chocolate. And it's like, because it's a medicinal in its purest, rawest form. It's medicinal. It's medicine. And it's a healing plant-based medicine. And when I traveled and I went to Costa Rica and I go to other indigenous communities, that's the way that they use it. And
Mhm.
um, I was so grateful to know that, because I, like you, I love my desserts. And when I knew that, wow, I gained over 100 pounds, probably majority of it because of bread and sweets. The meat too, but I really had an addiction to desserts, to sweets. And when I transitioned fully, I did fast a lot from bread and sweets, just to reset my palate and to realign everything to be more serving. But when I reintroduced and allowed myself to start indulging in plant-based desserts, it there was no going back for me. It was always, like you said, if somebody had uh, uh, even a vegetarian version of the dessert, it's like, oh, okay, all right. But if it's a vegan version, I'm telling you, it just sparks something in me that I'm excited about it. I want to know the ingredients. I want to know how I can change it, because I love adding, different things people didn't think of to put
Mhm.
in there to make it more potent with nourishment and flavors. And I love playing around with like cinnamon, cardamom, cumin, and ground masala. I love all of these different exotic spices, curries, and
Mm-hmm.
I just fell in love with how much you can use them and put them in so many of your dishes. Like people don't traditionally cook like that in North America. So I did get a lot of my recipes from like India, the Caribbean, and Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I incorporated how they cook a lot, because they're more in tune with the indigenous and using the tree leaves, the tree seeds, and the herbs and spices naturally from the land. And that is the best thing, is to go to different places and see what medicinal herbs that they naturally grow authentically in the land, and then and start to incorporate them. Even if you return back to North America, now you know about these new herbs and you can find them in your local farmers market, or you can find them online and start using them and cooking them in your dishes. And it just makes plant life. That's where I really fell in love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. That's that. Like I said, it made me a much better cook. And like even salads, like my salads are more exciting now than they were before I was vegan, because they're like a full meal. You can put roasted sweet potato. I love sweet potatoes.
Yes.
Dessert, sides, and at anything. I love sweet potatoes, but you can have this full meal of a salad that's not boring at all. And so yeah, it's uh, there's just you can unintentionally make yourself more healthy by just incorporating these herbs and spices and all of these other more natural ingredients. And yes, there are the processed vegan junk foods out there, but it's like any way of eating. You can eat healthy and non-healthy as a non-vegan, and you can eat healthy and
Yes.
non-healthy as a vegan. And so but I feel like there's more opportunities because of that creativity to make healthy eating a lot more fun and exciting than before I was vegan. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the work you do and how you help others.
Yes, so I love working with women, especially entrepreneurs who are conscious, being being more aware and conscious of their holistic um, goals. So they're coming into wanting to incorporate more plant-based meals, more meditation, and just more mindfulness when it comes to self-love practices, because it's easy to be a woman and just be Shira, just be out there and helping everybody, giving all of your energy over here, over there. And at the end of the day, just coming back in this place and being exhausted and not really having anything pour into you and feed you the way that you've been pouring into and feeding others. And so I know that it is important for those women, and especially entrepreneurs. They are the most out there hustling. Uh, and because they can't turn it off, you don't get to turn it off when you're an entrepreneur. You take it home, it's with you all the way. And so they need a system, a sustainable system where they can practice self love on a regular basis, something that works for them. So I started to offer these mindfulness techniques that they can do on a regular basis, but everybody has something that works for them. So we have this base system that we implement, as well as we infuse it with the personalized healing modalities that works for each individual. And that is just something I really have a passion for doing. And I know that there is a need for all women to make sure that we are taking care of each other, right? So I wanted to empower other women and help other women heal and have that safe space to share their spirit, their spiritual journey, as well as be respectful of their profession and their entrepreneurship, and all while making sure that we stay in alignment with knowing we are cultivating wealth in various ways, all while maintaining our biggest source of our wealth, which is our health and our divine feminine power.
That's beautiful. I really love that and can resonate with that a lot. I love what you say about, making personal, offering things on a personalized level, because there's a lot of programs out there that are like this one size fits all, and it doesn't work. Like, I've tried some of those programs and I realized that they don't work for me. And I used to think there was something wrong with me until I realized, when I started working with other programs that were more personalized and met you where you are at as an individual, which is a big thing about the work that I do with others, where I have support sessions that are personalized for the individual's needs, whatever is needed, that person needs in the moment, and those needs can change. So
It's so true. And
yeah.
you have to, I give them that flexibility to show up with an intention for every call. And I am the one who they speak with. These are one-on-one sessions. If they need group sessions, we can incorporate that too. But it is very important to that they be heard, and that I hear them and respect them, and then they start to hear and respect their own authentic voice. And so things have to be very much personalized. So it is the core principles that make the system work and
Hmm.
make it sustainable, but it is your personal voice and authenticity, your higher self, your connection, your divine download that we tap into that really makes it sustainable and really gives it that potent healing power.
And that's where the magic happens, when you tap in with your
Yes,
own personal download, because we all have that. We all have our personal connection to the universe. And once you are awakened to that, that's where all the magic begins to happen. And so
that's right.
that's great. We have to wrap up in a few minutes, but before we do, what are some resources you would like to share with everyone watching today?
Well, if you um the main one is community. You have to tap into a good community anytime you're making a big transition in your life. It just makes things easier. So
Hmm.
I have Elevate Your Success Frequency as my Facebook group. I would love to connect with women there. In that group, it's a sense of community of women and a safe space. We also do talk a lot about plant-based eating and how to incorporate it, how to transition. Also, if you sign up, if you leave your email address, I can share a resource with you on how to protect and activate your divine feminine power. And it gives you a sense of why that's so important, and also a better definition of what that is exactly. Um, so those are some resources that I share. I I I read some books. I do have a list. I have a list of books that I read that have helped me along my journey, and I can also share that with the group. I feel that it's better if you reach out, and I can give you a list of resources for sure, on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So we just leave it at what is your goal, and we help you get all of the resources to make sure that that specific goal is nurtured in you and your environment, and takes you where you need to go to accomplish your journey, your goal successfully.
Awesome. I will leave all of your links and contact information in the videos below in case any of you would like to connect with Zyoni.
Yes.
Um, it was so wonderful to connect with you today. I feel like we could talk for hours. And if you ever want to come back and talk about another topic, I would love to have you come back. But it was really great having you here today. And once again, I'll leave information uh, down in the notes below.
All right. Thank you so much. And AHIMSA.
Bye, everyone. AHIMSA.